Just for a second, try to put yourself in a man's shoes and think that he is considering you. Your mere presence seems to captivate him. He can't stop thinking about you. Many times throughout the day, he thinks of you. No matter how hard he tries to conceal it, or how much he denies it to himself, his body language, gestures, and subtle but palpable energy have already shown the world. He is completely engrossed emotionally, but you still don't know. Why? Due to your conditioning, maybe even programmed to seek out declarations, promises, and words, when in reality, words rarely express a man's deepest longing. Silently, it moves, encoded in a language that only a select few women learn to decipher. One of the greatest minds in psychology, Carl Jung, revealed an important truth regarding men's minds. A man's unconscious mind goes into a state he can't control when he loves a woman deeply. Subtle but noticeable signals start to emanate from him, responses that are instinctive and impossible to fake because his inner world is the source from which they emerge. Sadly, more than 90% of women completely miss the mark when it came to interpreting these signals. Because they are unable to understand the subtle cues sent by a man's heart, many women mistake his sincere interest in them for transitory flirtation or, worse, fail to notice when he is genuinely in love. Has it ever happened to you? You know there's something wrong when a man says he cares, but doesn't show it through his actions. It's like a creepy discord. Maybe even the inverse is true. He has never expressed his emotions openly. But even so, some part of you is aware. An inexplicable bond, communicated through looks and movements, silence and presence, is palpable. You're not imagining that. What your conscious mind isn't able to decipher just yet is picked up by your unconscious. The information I'm going to give you is not an attempt at seduction. This is not deceit. It dives much further. It's the unseen truth of what happens to a man's soul when he meets a woman who awakens a spiritual connection in addition to his physical desire. His eyes, pauses, attention, and protective instincts all speak a hidden language with a pattern. You will never again fall for empty promises or superficial allure once you master this language. The true issue is this. When looking for love, most women go in the wrong places. Truth is written in the smallest acts, but they're waiting for public displays and poetic speeches with grand gestures. Carl Jung found that the archetype of the lover, a potent force, resides deep within every man, within the subconscious. The moment it awakens, it changes his conduct to the point where he loses all self-awareness. He is unable to pretend. It has nothing to do with acting and everything to do with the fundamental makeup of his mind. It is unfiltered, genuine, and primitive. My impending disclosure may cause you to reevaluate the men in your life. Instinct you've had for a while, but never really understood could find expression in it. So, be very careful. Reason being, these signals are subtle, but not imaginary. A guy could attempt to conceal them. He could try to make sense of them. The reality of his emotions will always be exposed by his actions, decisions, and mere presence. A man's level of emotional investment in you is significantly higher than if he is merely physically drawn to you. When trouble starts, one just vanishes. The presence of the other grows even stronger. Anxieties and perplexity keep you spinning in one. Peace and stability are brought about by the other. In the here and now, no one can see you. In his future, the other person sees you. These variations aren't just theoretical. Their appearance is quite. Particular habits that Jung discovered after dedicating his life to understanding the human mind. These specific behaviors will be demonstrated to you today. A man's love for you is being revealed by his unconscious mind in 8 undeniable signs. Relationship advice doesn't typically touch on these topics. This is profound understanding, a window into the male mind's secret architecture that very few people ever get to see. Could this revelation alter the course of your love life forever? Are you prepared? I have a quick question before we begin. Provide feedback on. Reading comprehension below. Why? Just because this isn't conversation, it's planning. You are telling your unconscious mind that you are prepared to receive whatever comes next when you write that word. Preparing your mind to take in truth rather than mere facts is the goal. The door to a more profound comprehension swings open with that one word. Because what you're going to study is practical knowledge, not theoretical. For the mind, it's a rude awakening. Carl Jung devoted his life to understanding this unseen language. A man's subconscious can show him his. No amount of writing can do it justice. This post is for you if you've ever questioned a man's love for you or felt something more profound but couldn't put your finger on it. I'm going to let you into the mind of a man who is madly in love with you. You can't take your eyes off it once you see it. Your perspective on men, relationships, and the significance of subtle cues may be forever altered by what is about to unfold. Have you ever pondered the mystery of why certain women have an innate talent for drawing deep? Men's commitment, while other women become mired in a never-ending cycle of superficial relationships. A person's outward look, their choice of words, and their deliberate actions are all irrelevant to the question. Most people never discover how to access the deeper dimension where it resides. The skill of picking up on and acting upon a man's unconscious cues that indicate when he's deeply invested emotionally. After delving into the human mind for decades, Carl Jung discovered that there are unseen forces at work that influence a man's actions in addition to logic and will, are buried deep within his consciousness. Archetypes are the physical manifestation of these forces. They're the earliest pictures encoded into our shared unconscious from our ancestors. The lover archetype is one of the strongest in men's psyches. Something miraculous starts to happen when this old archetype is roused in a man's unconscious. Just being interested or attracted isn't cutting it anymore. He gets emotionally attached in an illogical way. It's as if his very essence is being awakened. An innate power. Even before he has a complete grasp of his own emotions, his behavior changes. This, however, is where the paradox is. These days, boys and men learn at a young age to keep their feelings bottled up. Be strong, don't show weakness, and don't cry. The man builds a barrier between his feelings and the expression of those feelings by repeatedly reciting these commands like mantras. For this reason, it can be difficult for men to put into words the feelings they experience, even when they are head over heels for someone. But Jung found something really important. At no point in time does the human body. Lies, physical gestures, energy, and behavior are ways in which the unconscious mind communicates, in contrast to the conscious mind's tendency to censor and edit speech. Styles of speech that are extremely difficult to mask. Here, in the body's subtle signals, in the presence's subtle changes, and in the decision's lack of ceremony, lies the truth. Unfortunately, not many females have received instruction in reading this language. Consider a guy you know whose actions perplex you. You might say he cares, but then he'll be gone for days. Maybe he's the kind of guy who never says, "I love you," but is there whenever you need him. Out of the two, which one cares more about the outcome? Expressions have the power to mislead. What matters most is how one acts. This is due to both biological and psychological factors. New research in neuroscience backs up Jung-Long's suspicions. A man's behavior is fundamentally altered when his brain releases a unique blend of neurotransmitters, oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin, when he is truly in love. He is oblivious to the patterns that these chemicals create. One neurotransmitter that is associated with pleasure and rewards is dopamine. A man's brain releases dopamine in response to your presence when he is emotionally invested, making him crave your company almost to an addiction level. I don't think this is a sensible choice. It's like a chemical imprint. No matter how many other directions life takes him, he can't help but be drawn to you. Next up is the bonding hormone, oxytocin. It's a biological imperative that he keep you safe, provide for your needs, and stay by your side when you're emotionally and physically close, connected. Because of this, a man who is truly in love will frequently act protectively. This is not deceit. It's the body's way of reacting to strong feelings. What does it mean to distinguish between a man who is emotionally attached and one who is just physically attracted. Can you tell the difference between a person who just says what you want to hear and someone whose feelings are genuine and long-lasting? Synchronicity was Jung's proposed key. There is no explanation for these significant coincidences, rational justification while bearing heavy emotional burden. Synchronicities start to appear when a man is really on your side. Exactly when you were considering him, he contacts you. You find out that your life stories overlap in strange ways, or that fate has a strange way of bringing you together. These do not occur by chance. In doing so, they unveil a more profound link and are the voice of the unconscious world. Also, a lot of women fail to notice these warning signals. They are bracing themselves for grandiose declarations of love, public displays of affection, or extravagant gestures, as one looks away from the still moments that show everything. The smallest acts can often be the most telling indicators of a man's level of commitment. How he keeps quiet when you talk, how he recalls a specific detail from weeks ago, and how his gaze stays fixed on you for an extra second than it should. Think about this. In the course of a casual group discussion, you bring up an old book. Even weeks after that, he mentions that very book. There's a reason for that. That something you said stuck with him in his memory is proof that you inhabit his mental space. As Jung referred to as this ghostly figure, many women make the mistake of equating a person's physical attractiveness with the emotional depth they feel when they occupy their inner world, even when they're not physically near. Desire in a body is rapid. It's driven by chemical reactions and environmental signals. In contrast, emotional connection is gradual, consistent, and built up from the ground up. Patterns of consistent behavior, which are frequently imperceptible at first, are the hallmark of this disorder. Even if a guy has feelings for a lot of women, when he is emotionally, when you're a part of one, things change. She is more than just a passing fling in his eyes now. As time goes on, he starts to see her as integral to his being, his destiny, and his very existence. This metamorphosis is holy, and it affects every part of his life, even the parts that don't appear to have anything to do with love. According to Jung, the anima, a man's unconscious mental representation of his ideal partner, lives inside every man. Meeting a woman who embodies this feminine image gives a man a sense of enigmatic wholeness, as if he has discovered a long-lost aspect of his being. This resonance goes beyond just having common interests or being physically compatible. Upon experiencing this profound recognition, he finds no need to utter a word. A lot of guys feel this connection so strongly that they don't know what to say. Consequently, they communicate primarily via actions, decisions, energy, and presence. They're led by their unconscious. The question then becomes, what actions indicate this more profound engagement? When is a man's heart truly invested, rather than merely intrigued? Jung determined. They do not originate on the surface, and as a result, they remain remarkably constant across cultures, eras, and backgrounds. The collective unconscious is the source of these ideas. I will tell you soon which of these signals primarily belong to one of three groups. And when you do, you'll know exactly what a man is trying to convey when he speaks. You won't have to doubt him anymore. The focus here isn't on fleeting romance. The actions of a man whose soul is already on the path to eternity are manifest in these distinctive ways. The most shocking thing is that a lot of guys don't even realize they're doing these things. Their actions are driven by an irrational force rather than reason. Only when they meet the woman who awakens the lover archetype dormant in their unconsciousness does something primal, old, and wholly awaken. At that point, the journey takes on a life-altering quality. Reason being, the following is more of a revelation than a decision. When this archetype is triggered, a man starts acting in ways that no one else can understand, elaborate in full. Some part of him knows who you are. Then, out of that understanding, a subtle current develops, a gravitational pull that is irrational and based on psychic rather than physical factors. We have now reached the crux of this reality. The telltale symptoms that a guy is deeply in love. Someone without genuine emotional depth cannot maintain these signs, and they are not rehearsed either. They emerge from the unconscious on their own will. The soul's disclosure of the ego's hidden truths. His is the initial and strongest indication. Gaze. According to Jung, one's eyes reflect one's soul, and when they're in love, they open up, go deeper, and want to know more than just see. A man's perspective on you shifts dramatically when he feels an emotional connection to you. This is more than just a longing expression, though that may still be there occasionally. He seems to be looking for more than just your physical attractiveness. His expression is one of recognition. He seems to see you as eternal. What Jung suspected has now been validated by modern science. Whenever they, as a reflex controlled by the autonomic nervous system, our pupils dilate when we sense a strong emotional connection. You can't make it up. The expression on a man's face belies the sincerity of his words. He looks at you for longer than normal, as if he were trying to commit the contours of your face and the rhythm of your emotions to memory. Like a compass pointing to its true north, his gaze finds you even in the middle of a packed room. The times he observes you without recognizing that you've observed are even more illuminating. As soon as you notice him watching, your gait, your laughter, and your interactions with people, his expression is one of awe rather than dominance, as if you were a living poem that he couldn't tear himself away from. The second telltale indicator is his space and time management skills. Whatever happens when we develop strong feelings for another person, Jung noted, to accommodate them, we subtly alter both our internal and exterior environments. You can tell a man is fully committed when he starts to revolve his life around you. Not because he feels obligated, but because he quietly needs you. After rearranging his calendar, rearranges priorities, and manages to squeeze you into his already packed schedule so he can give you his undivided attention. His disappearance is never unexplained. He never makes an excuse about being busy to avoid being intimate. He is reliable in his appearances. Even more revealing is his physical posture. Jung made the astute observation that our body language reveals our emotional proximity far before our words do. Notice how he stands. His body language indicates that he is leaning toward you when you are in a group. Both of his feet are pointing toward you. He finds subtle methods of drawing nearer, not in an invasive way, but as if pushed by some invisible force he refuses to acknowledge. Something deeper than what he can put into words is revealed by even the most innocuous of touches, a passing hand on your arm, an unexpected embrace. Neuroscientific studies have shown that oxytocin levels are much higher between people with strong emotional bonds than between complete strangers when they touch. He widens his eyes and changes his breathing pattern. He could turn red or feel hot when touched. These automatic reactions reveal a reality that words fall short. Selective memory is the third indicator, and it might be the most personal. According to what Jung found, the unconscious mind is constantly sorting through data, retaining only that which chimes with the soul's frequency. When a man falls head over heels for you, he'll start to notice even the tiniest details about you. Not because he makes an effort, but because he is a walking embodiment of your words. Some things you might have forgotten to tell him he recalls. A tale from your youth, an aspiration, or an incident that you disregarded as trivial. His attention is captivated by. When your hair is dyed a different color, you suddenly appear more subdued than normal, etc. The rational mind is bypassed by these details. You're now a part of his inner world, so the psyche records them. His reference to a conversation from the past, specifically to anything vulnerable or sensitive that you mention casually, is not manipulation but evidence. It implies that even when he doesn't speak, you remain in his thoughts. In his emotional fragility, we see the fourth indicator. True connection, according to Jung, starts where the mask comes off. In most cases, males are instructed, during their formative years, in order to protect themselves emotionally, conceal their vulnerabilities, and keep their fears at bay. A man is not merely speaking when he starts to divulge his concerns, unspoken desires, and concealed anxieties. He is unveiling a sacred trust. Being vulnerable isn't always accompanied by a dramatic admission. Subtle stuttering, a silent confession about his past, a moment of pause when his voice quivers slightly. These are ways it often manifests. These are the times when he is saying things without speaking the truth. I have faith in you to reveal my true self to you. Interaction with others constitutes the fifth indicator. Anyone we spend time with, including those we hold in high esteem, becomes a part of our identity, according to Jung. A man will not run away from you when he is deeply involved. He will warmly greet his friends and family, introduce you to his friends, and even invite you into his sacred spaces. Your presence is not something he separates. You are an integral element of his joyous occasions, his mundane moments, and his aspirations. His lack of mention you with reluctance. He seems genuinely pleased to have you in his life. His words flow with an air of self-importance. His outlook on the future provides the sixth indicator. Emotional ties, as Jung was well aware, alter our perception of time. Not because he's trying to force you to exist in his future, but because life without you is just too unbearable. A man who is madly in love with you will start to picture a future where you are. Months or even years from now, he will be talking about trips, seasons, or events in which you will play a significant role. This isn't a request, but rather an inclusion. Among his possible topics of conversation are his hometown, creating a life together, a shared home, and dreams. All of these claims are genuine. He sees you standing by his side in these soul projections. Seventh sign. He feels cared for and instinctively wants to protect others. When one feels an intense bond to another, a psychic force known as the guardian complex emerges, according to Jung. Envy or domination are not at the root of this safeguard. The key is to be present. Before you even say a word, he knows when you're upset. Refuses to help for the sake of personal gain. Rather, he does so out of genuine concern for your welfare. A man's unconscious goes into overdrive where he thinks you're irreplaceable, and he wants to protect you in every way he can, emotionally, psychologically, and physically. Finally, consistency is the eighth and, arguably, the most important. True selves are the only ones that last, as Jung cautioned, even though anyone can put on a mask for a time. A man who is truly in love doesn't come and go for no apparent reason, acting irrationally. He consistently turns up, not to put on a show, but to be himself. His vitality never wanes. He is genuinely interested. He had good intentions. For the simple reason that love becomes genuine when it takes root in the unconscious. It leaves an impression, becomes a pattern, and shows the way ahead. Listen up. Music based on Jung's extensive research into the masculine unconscious. You've learned to spot the telltale signs of a man's genuine love. Now it's time to figure out how this applies to you. While this information is not purely academic, it has the potential to alter your perspective on men's actions, choices, and relationships in profound ways. There is something truly unique happening in your life if you have a man who consistently displays these 8 signs. A lot of people go through life never having felt a connection that strong. What you have here is more than just a passing interest in each other or a superficial sense of compatibility. This is a resonant, spiritual communion, a meeting of unconscious minds, as Jung would put it. An encounter that transcends reason and communicates in a language that is understood solely by one's inner being. In contrast, you should probably engage in some extreme self-awareness if you're emotionally invested in someone who either doesn't display these signs or only does so on an inconsistent basis. This is not an excuse to break up with your partner suddenly. In fact, what it really implies is that you start to differentiate between fleeting infatuation and genuine feeling invested. Far too many women waste their lives hoping that a shallow-hearted man will suddenly develop feelings for them. True love, though, cannot be coerced, as Jung shows us. When there is genuine harmony on a spiritual and psychological level, it comes easily. You might be asking, what if he only shows partial signs? Jung argued that genuine love is systemic, changing a person's pattern of presence rather than just their behavior in isolated instances. I want you to reflect on your own journey. How often have you ignored your intuition when it warned you something wasn't right? How often have you held on to promises that weren't followed through? The question isn't if he checks all the boxes, but if his actions are consistent and authentic in their source. A genuine gesture speaks louder than 1,000 well-rehearsed words. An emotional compass that can guide you and protect you from being led astray by empty promises or your own insecurities about when someone will finally be there for you in the way your heart deserves. The truth that Jung found and that I'm sharing with you is that a man who is genuinely in love does not require convincing to stay, to care, or to show up. He does it effortlessly, driven by inner forces that are greater than logic and deeper than words. If you feel like you have to beg for attention, make rules, threaten him, or constantly question his feelings, then it is time to find someone else. If you notice these signs in a man, it's important to consider if you're meeting him with the same level of depth. According to Jung, a genuine relationship is a sacred dance between two souls willing to be fully seen. If he's showing you his vulnerability, honesty, and unwavering presence, but you're holding back due to fear or past hurts, you might unknowingly create distance in something that should be rare and special. It's liberating to be able to read these signs clearly. You'll never have to wonder if you're misinterpreting a man's feelings. You'll no longer depend only on words or promises to feel secure. Instead, you'll start to understand that love asks for presence, not perfection and truth. When two people join together with open hearts and no masks, the relationship becomes a mirror, and through it, both people are transformed. Develop an unwavering sense of inner trust, an intuitive ability to distinguish between passing attraction and true love. When you reach this level of self-awareness, tactics like power plays and emotional manipulation become unnecessary in relationships. When you know when a man is truly invested in you, you can stop trying to manipulate him, test his feelings, or hold his attention. Instead, you can simply be yourself, open, grounded, and whole, knowing that the connection is genuine and doesn't need manipulation. The most important thing is that this knowledge serves as a protective barrier for your heart. If women were taught early on to recognize these unconscious signals, it would save a lot of heartache and disappointment. Many relationships fail because they were never meant to be deep and lasting. According to Jung, discovering someone with whom we have a true psychic resonance is one of life's most life-altering experiences. It's not just about being in a relationship. It's about growing as a person, discovering your spirituality, and realizing your full potential. When a man exhibits these 8 unconscious signs, he's not merely expressing his love. He's offering a sacred path, a voyage of self-discovery and mutual transformation. This is the unseen current that underlies all love that lasts. It's the meeting of two souls at the level of essence, evolving together. We've arrived at the. This concludes our illuminating exploration of the male unconscious and the true nature of romantic love. Now I would like to hear from you. Have you ever noticed any of these 8 signs in someone's treatment of you? Or perhaps felt the painful lack of them in someone who professed to love you? Please share your story in the comments section. Your story has the potential to serve as a mirror for someone else, helping them to better understand their own truth. If this message touched you, if even a single word reflected your innermost thoughts and feelings, then please let me know. Have you found a soul whose presence feels like home? Or are you still on the sacred path back to yourself? Your story, no matter how unfinished, has the potential to illuminate someone else's darkness and provide them with the sign they were seeking. And if someone you care about is silently fighting the illusion that love must hurt, that self-abandonment is the price of connection, or that they are unworthy of peace, please share this video with them. You never know when they might need a helping hand. Allow me to connect with those who are in need of a reminder that genuine love does not require us to shrink. True connection does not require us to sacrifice our souls. And the most important union we can ever form is with our own inner truth. Before you leave, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on notifications. In this space, we delve into the depths of the mind, uncovering its hidden architecture, the unconscious's murmurs, and how each relationship reflects our personal growth. If you have any thoughts, questions, or experiences that you would like us to address in future videos, please share them below. Your presence here is vital, and we appreciate you taking the time to share them. Thank you for coming to this video and for working on yourself, for remembering your true self. And keep in mind that when the right person comes along, you will know it, not in fear, but in peace. In the meanwhile, focus on cultivating your inner relationship, as that is the most intimate relationship there is. Home, the starting point. All things genuine originate from that place of completeness.